What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, legendary 8th Division World Champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer, Manny Pacquiao, will be heading into a massive showdown, which will turn out to be a unification showdown with undefeated, unified WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion superstar boxer, who is widely considered by many to be top 3 pound-for-pound best fighters in the world, in Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. With that said, the fight is scheduled to take place August 21st, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena. Manny Pacquiao was asked, he and his team was asked about the fight and how they feel about the fight, and why did Manny Pacquiao choose to fight Errol Spence Jr. at this gesture in his career. The fact that Manny Pacquiao 62 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. He himself was knocked out 3 times. Manny Pacquiao's 42 years of age, stands at 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. The last time we saw him in the ring was July 2019 when he defeated then unified lightweight, welterweight world champion superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman. With that said, Manny Pacquiao, by the time this fight takes place with Errol Spence, would have been inactive and out the ring for 2 years. Manny Pacquiao says the long layoff is going to help him, okay? So, with that said, Manny Pacquiao and his team was asked about why you choose Errol Spence. Manny Pacquiao, he stated that he wanted to fight the absolute best, point blank and period. That's just all it boils down to. He wants the toughest fights out there. Obviously, Manny Pacquiao wants the biggest lucrative fights, of course, and he's an icon in the sport of boxing. But interesting is that when he broke down Errol Spence, now, when I asked Manny Pacquiao, he says it's going to be his speed ultimately that sees him victorious against Errol Spence Jr. And so he reiterates that, and his team reiterates that. They says that it's going to be the speed. They says Manny Pacquiao at his best, at Errol Spence's best, would never be enough. And the fact is, Manny Pacquiao knows his body, he stays in shape. But ultimately, they stated the difference between them and Errol Spence is that Errol Spence's opponents, like his last opponent, 2-division world champion superstar boxer Danny Swift Garcia, that took place December of 2020, they stated that Danny Garcia left the ring with black eyes. Manny Pacquiao's opponents go to the hospital. Wow. So they said that Errol Spence, in his best day, couldn't deal with Manny Pacquiao on his best day. And they said that they believed that after Errol Spence suffered that horrific car accident, just 12 days after unifying the belts, September 28th against 2-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Shawn Porter, October 10th, he suffered a horrific car accident. He was out the ring for 14 months. He made his comeback against Danny Garcia. With that said, they say they paid very close attention to Errol Spence's fight with Danny Garcia, and they believe he lost a step. He seems to be slower, and he's not as strong as he used to be. So they say they see there's vulnerabilities now in Errol Spence that they didn't see in the past, okay? So it's abundantly clear that they feel like this is the perfect time to face off against Errol Spence. They feel like he's vulnerable. He's right for the picking. So when asked, Errol Spence is 11 years younger than Manny Pacquiao, and they said age will not matter because Manny Pacquiao is so seasoned within the sport of boxing, because Manny Pacquiao is so gifted, that Manny Pacquiao knows his body, he stays in shape. The 2-year layoff is going to only help Manny Pacquiao. It's not going to hurt Manny Pacquiao because he actually gave his body a rest after being in the sport of boxing since 1994-95. They stated for 26 years he's been in the sport of boxing. This is one time that he's given his body a rest, a well-needed rest, to allow himself to heal and recover and to prepare himself for such a big fight like this fight. So they believe that the rest is going to help Manny Pacquiao. But back to the strategy, they said that Manny Pacquiao's speed, Manny Pacquiao's angles, and Manny Pacquiao's unorthodox style, the ability to put you in positions that you're not comfortable with because he's comfortable in these positions. He's unorthodox. He throws punches from angles that you normally don't see. Okay, he's a southpaw as well. Okay, they both. So they had this to say, quote, The age will not be a factor because Manny Pacquiao is God gifted, and he's a freak of nature. Okay, his power is God gifted. Okay, that's not going to go away with age. Manny knows his body. He's always in superb condition. Okay, he's done 71 fights, and he's been a pro since 1995. That's 26 years. That experience goes a long way. Manny's speed, power, and conditioning are out of this world. Manny will be ready 100%. That's just the way he is. In workouts, he's always asking for more rounds and more sparring. In Spence's fight against Danny Garcia last December, he looked slow and wasn't as strong as he used to be. Garcia ended up with just a black eye. Manny's opponents usually end up in the hospital. I think there's lingering effect from Spence's car accident in 2019. I would be so they're banking on, and Manny Pacquiao reiterates this. He says that his speed is going to beat Errol Spence because he's just simply faster than Errol Spence, but he has more pop and just an equal amount of power. Okay, so with that said, they are relying on their speed now. Again, Errol Spence 5'9.5". Errol Spence 27 wins, no losses, no draws. 21 wins by way of knockout. He's 31 years of age. He stands at 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. Okay, and we last saw him in the ring, obviously, against Danny Garcia. That was in December, as they stated. Okay, he dominated Danny Garcia coming off a 14-month layoff and a horrific car accident. But they're banking on the fact that he's not the Errol Spence that they are used to seeing in the Sean Porter fight, in the Kell Brook fight. The big, strong guy that was, stopping Chris Algieri, Lamont Peterson. That version of Errol Spence is what they're highlighting and saying that they don't see that version of Errol Spence. They see a version of Errol Spence that's slower and not as strong. Well, Errol Spence also was not with his longtime strength and condition coach, Blue Ray Fitness. Blue Ray Fitness is now back in camp with Errol Spence Jr. Blue Ray Fitness has Errol Spence doing 700 push-ups in less than 30 minutes. So now Errol Spence conditioning, Errol Spence strength and conditioning, Errol Spence now has a nutritionist, something Errol Spence did not do in the past. Errol Spence had himself, he relied on himself to prepare his meals. Now he has a nutritionist to help him prepare his meals. Errol Spence relied on, his just natural abilities sometimes every now and then. Well, for these last few fights, without his strength and condition coach. Now he's back with his strength and condition coach. The difference is when Errol Spence was with Blue Ray Fitness, that's the Chris Algieri, the Kell Brook, the Lamont Peterson fights. He wasn't with Blue Ray Fitness, his strength and condition coach. He didn't have a strength and condition coach for his fights with Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, and Danny Garcia, his last 3 fights, okay? So, but he's still that version, 80%, as Errol Spence stated, he was only 80% of himself in the Danny Garcia fight. So they may be on to something when they say he wasn't the same Errol Spence that they were used to seeing, because Errol Spence himself said he was only 80% of himself in the fight with Danny Garcia. So they could be on to something when they say they saw that he wasn't the same guy he was in prior fights. Well, Errol Spence, he's admitting of that, saying I was only 80% in the Danny Garcia fight, but I'll be 100% for this Manny Pacquiao fight, okay? Errol Spence is going to have a 5-inch height advantage and a 5-inch arm reach advantage over Manny Pacquiao. To me, the difference in this fight is what they're overlooking, in my opinion. Now, obviously, Manny Pacquiao is a legend. Obviously, Manny Pacquiao, like they stated, has the experience. Manny Pacquiao has speed advantage, I believe, over Errol Spence. His feet are quicker than Errol Spence. His hand speed is quicker. But I believe Errol Spence has more educated feet and foot placement than Manny Pacquiao. And I believe he's better technically skilled, and his accuracy is better than Manny Pacquiao's. And his timing with his arm reach is better than Manny Pacquiao. That's what gives Manny Pacquiao trouble. Guys that have the ability to counter Manny Pacquiao, guys that have the ability to time Manny Pacquiao, guys that have technical abilities that can use their jab and slow the pace of the fight down against Manny Pacquiao. Don't let Manny Pacquiao and his tornado style overwhelm you, okay? They're able to weather the storm. They're able to slow the fight down. Even in fights, when you have 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Juan Manuel Marquez. He's not as quick as Manny Pacquiao. He doesn't have the athletic ability as Manny Pacquiao. But what he does have is timing, accuracy, and counterpunch ability, and technical skills. That always gave Manny Pacquiao trouble. Thus the reason why 4 fights, Juan Manuel Marquez fought Manny Pacquiao. The first fight, Manny Pacquiao dropped Juan Manuel Marquez 3 times in the first round. And ultimately, Marquez got up to fight that fight to a draw. 3 knockdowns for Manny Pacquiao, and the fight ended in a draw. That tells you everything you need to know. It was the technical skills and prowess of Juan Manuel Marquez which overcame the tornado style and overwhelming of Manny Pacquiao, okay? So he was able to weather the storm and fight to a draw. That tells you everything you need to know, okay? So once you get acclimated to Manny Pacquiao's style, his whirlwind style, his unorthodox, right? You can start to time Manny Pacquiao, and he's not the biggest guy in the world. So I believe that that will ultimately be the difference in this fight, and the factor that will play in Errol Spence's favor. And yes, we have not seen Manny Pacquiao on display, his power on display, in a very long time. Even though in his last fight against Keith Thurman, he dropped Keith Thurman. Yes, he did. But Manny Pacquiao hasn't had a vicious knockout since 2009 when he did so against Miguel Cotto and Ricky Hatton. Yes, he got a stoppage against Lucas Matisse. He dropped Chris Algieri, I believe, 5 times or 6 times in their fight. But Chris Algieri was never seriously hurt. Okay, so the last opponent that they sent to the hospital was Ricky Hatton and Antonio Margarito. Well, we haven't seen that punching power on display since 2009. That's a very long time ago. We're in 2021, okay? That is 12 years ago since the last time we saw Manny Pacquiao put his absolute punching power on display. So I believe that it's a uphill battle for Manny Pacquiao physically. I believe that they may be overlooking Errol Spence and his abilities, but I can't wait to see how this plays out August 21st, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena. That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
This is Amanda, the real deal Serrano, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.